Hello again. Welcome to part 3 of the prediction game. Today, I dive into Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. Like the book from the previous video, this one is also part of a series. Specifically, it's a sequel to Better Than the Movies, one of my most beloved comfort books. I confess that I only knew the sequel's existence by chance as I was navigating through Goodreads one day. I was so stoked, I hit a new time record clicking the Want to Read button. However, there's a reason I didn't anticipate this book. Better Than the Movies was originally meant to be a standalone. It has a satisfying, conclusive ending that honestly doesn't call for a second installment. Yet, following its impressive success, it came as no surprise that the author would want to capitalize on its popularity and carry on the momentum a bit longer. It is also quite expected for readers to fear a drop in quality, a fate unplanned sequels often suffer from. If you ask me, I'd say I'm not overthinking this much. It's a young adult romantic comedy book and not an epic piece of literature. It doesn't bear so much scrutiny, in my opinion, since its charm is in its light-hearted fun and cheesiness, which I trust Lynn Painter to preserve in the second book. Enough of that now, on to the synopsis. For a few beautiful months, Wes had his dream girl, the strong-willed girl next door, Liz. But right as the two were about to set off for college to start their freshman year together, tragedy struck. Wes was left dealing with the fallout, which ultimately meant losing Liz in the process. Flash forward months later, and Wes and Liz find themselves in college, together. In a healthier place now, Wes knows he broke Liz's heart when he ended things, but he is determined to make her fall back in love with him. Wes knows Liz better than anyone, and he has a foolproof plan to win her back with rom-com-worthy grand gestures she loves. Only, Liz will have none of it. Wes has a scheme, like a rom-com hero, to figure out how to see her. Even worse, Liz has a new friend, a guy friend. Still, Wes won't give up, adapting his clever plans and going hard to get Liz's attention and win back her affection. But after his best efforts get him nowhere, Wes is left wondering if their relationship is really over for good. In the beginning, Wes and Liz seem destined for a perfect happily ever after. They were neighbors since kindergarten, each other's constants throughout all the ups and downs of childhood, and finally admitted their true feelings in their senior year of high school. Now, as college freshmen, they're thrilled to start their new lives together at UCLA. California's sunny glamour providing a stunning backdrop for their love story. Life feels full of possibilities. But life has other plans for Wes. A family crisis forces him to stay back in Omaha, while Liz heads back to UCLA. Alone. Despite Liz's offer to stay back with him, Wes refuses. He doesn't want her to sacrifice this incredible opportunity. They try to make long-distance work, staying connected with constant calls and messages. Liz gives it her all, trying to support Wes emotionally from miles away, but Wes struggles with feelings of guilt and frustration. He hates that Liz has to worry about him instead of fully enjoying her new life at college. He feels like he's holding her back, a thought that weighs heavily on him, especially as he watches his peers live out the college experience he longs for. Eventually, Wes makes a heartbreaking decision. He ends things with Liz. For her sake, he tells himself. Even though he's crushed, he knows she deserves the chance to thrive without worrying about him. Months pass, and eventually Wes's family recovers enough for him to return to college. But as he steps back into UCLA, his mind is already set on one thing: getting Liz back. He's sure that with some romantic gestures, she'll remember what they had and forgive him. Yet, Wes quickly discovers that Liz is not the same girl he left behind. Gone is the hopeless romantic who saw the world in rose-colored hues. Liz, now guarded and skeptical of love, seems immune to his efforts and uninterested in rekindling their romance. Every over-the-top gesture falls flat, leaving Wes to realize she's moved on, or so it seems. In his quiet moments of self-doubt, Wes stops trying so hard to win Liz back, and that's when his real self begins to shine through. Without grand gestures, Wes shows his love in small, thoughtful ways. Through his support, his understanding, and his patience, slowly Liz starts to notice. Despite her best efforts, she finds herself drawn to the side of Wes, the side that's honest, unassuming, and genuinely kind. As time passes, her walls begin to crumble, and Liz comes to see that the connection they shared has never really disappeared. And so, after everything, she decides to take a leap of faith. They rekindle their relationship, this time with an understanding that their love has grown stronger through the challenges they faced apart. Together, they find their happy ending, this time built on a foundation of resilience and newfound maturity. Boys and girls, I regretfully announce that the spoiler section has been cancelled today. Why, you ask? Well, simply because the spoiler section will be a duplicate of the prediction one. No, I am not a genius, nor am I a psychic. The book's plot was quite frankly entirely revealed in the synopsis. The main event of the story was already there, the breakup. Everything else was just a reaction to it. In other words, I couldn't go wrong with this one if I tried, since it's as straightforward as they come. And considering it's a romance, we all know from the start that it will end happily with the main couple reuniting. But at least let me give you some honorable mentions that I might have not covered in my predictions. Number 1. As we established, Wes left both college and his girlfriend shortly after their freshman year started. The precise reason was the sudden death of his father and his mother's ensuing mental breakdown that forced him to step up and take charge of his minor sister and the household expenses. With no extended family members to help, he didn't have a choice in the matter. What he did willingly choose, though, was ending things with Liz over a brief, curt phone call. He also thought, in his infinite wisdom, that publicly rejecting her, then falsely convincing her he was a cheater was such a good idea. All in all, he couldn't have handled that part worse. Enough that poor Liz abandoned her hopelessly romantic persona to embrace a cynical one instead. I mean, who wouldn't? Anyway, after 2 years of the breakup and when the situation at home wasn't as dire, Wes enrolled in college again. Besides obviously wanting to win Liz back, there was a big, and I mean big, focus on his baseball endeavors. Look, I did appreciate his true love and passion for the game, but man, was I uninterested in the technicalities of it. I come from a part of the world, the major part, where the only sport people ever get that ballistic about is football, the real one, not the American version. I haven't got the barest clue what baseball or how baseball works, and I don't want to know, to be honest. My point is, I didn't enjoy the focus on baseball in this book. Another thing that I didn't mention in my predictions is the friendships. Liz and Wes have friend groups both at college and back in Omaha, and all scenes involving either friend group was extremely fun and heartwarming. I love those goofy but tight friend groups. Well, I guess that sums it up. My review is this one sentence: nostalgia-induced high. What I mean is, I read this book in May of 2023, so that's hardly considered old enough to be nostalgic. But what can I say? It is. Revisiting the characters and diving back into their overly romantic, often corny, but pure and joyful life has been delightful. I am very invested in Westley's. Yes, I just used their couple name. I told you it was corny. And the universe of these books brings me an odd sense of comfort. That being said, I gave this book 4 stars because it made me happy. That's the video for today. See you in the next one. Take care.